Let me ask you something honest. Have you ever had a moment, maybe at work, maybe at school, maybe just standing in line somewhere, where a girl made you feel something you couldn't explain? Something shifted in the air, like the conversation felt different, like she said something simple, but the way she said it made your brain go, wait, was that something? And then you went home and you replayed the whole thing and you still couldn't figure it out. That moment right there, that's exactly why I'm making this video. Because attraction is one of the most misunderstood things in a man's life. Not because it's complicated, but because nobody ever taught us how to read it clearly. We were taught sports stats. We were taught how to fix a car. We were taught algebra that we've never used once. But reading human connection? That was never on the curriculum. So today that changes. I'm going to walk you through real, observable behaviors that women show when they're genuinely attracted to someone. Behaviors backed by actual psychology, not myths, not Reddit theories. And more importantly, I'm going to connect each one to a real human moment, a real scenario you've probably already lived through. So by the end of this video, you're not just smarter about attraction, you're actually more emotionally intelligent as a man that matters. Let's get into it. Number 1, she finds reasons to stay in the conversation longer than necessary. Here's a scenario. You're talking to her about something simple. Maybe you're at a coffee shop and you made a comment about the music playing. A regular conversation ends in 20 seconds. She answers, you nod, and you both move on. But she doesn't move on. She adds something. She asks a follow-up question that has nothing to do with the original topic. She laughs at something you said that wasn't even that funny. She finds a way to keep the thread alive. Pay attention to that. Psychologically, this is called conversational investment. When someone is drawn to you, they unconsciously try to extend the interaction, because ending it feels like a loss to them. They're not doing it on purpose. They don't plan it. It just happens naturally, because their brain is telling them, I want more of this. The educational piece here? This is how human beings show interest across cultures, across ages, across all kinds of relationships, not just romantic ones. When you're genuinely interested in someone, a mentor, a friend, a person you admire, you also linger. You also find the extra question. Attraction is really just deep, focused interest, and interest always shows up as attention. So the next time a conversation stretches without either of you really trying to stretch it, don't dismiss that. That's her attention showing up for you. Number 2, she mentions personal details she didn't have to share. Let me paint the picture. You're having a normal conversation. You're talking about something light, maybe weekend plans, maybe food, maybe something you both like. And out of nowhere, she drops something personal, something small but specific. I actually grew up really shy, which is weird because most people don't realize that. Or I used to be super afraid of this kind of stuff until a few years ago. And you think, why did she tell me that? She told you that because you made her feel safe enough to say it. Here's what most guys miss. Women are incredibly selective about who they open up to. Not because they're secretive, but because they're smart. They share vulnerability with people they trust. They share personal details with people they want to know them deeper. When a woman begins to offer you pieces of herself that she didn't have to offer, she is making a subconscious decision that you are worth the risk of being known. That's not small, that's actually huge. The lesson here, that goes way beyond attraction. This is how real human connection is built through the willingness to be seen. The next time someone, man or woman, shares something personal with you, treat it gently, it means they trust you. And trust is the rarest currency in human relationships. Number 3, she remembers the small things. You mentioned it once, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe in a random 5-minute conversation. You said something offhand, your dog's name, your favorite type of food, something frustrating that happened at work. And then one day, out of nowhere, she brings it up. Hey, how did that thing with your manager turn out? Or, wait, you're the one who loves spicy food, right? I thought of you when I tried this place. She remembered, bro, that's not an accident, that's investment. Our brains are selective about what they store. You don't memorize the details of conversations with people you don't care about, you forget those within days. But when someone matters to you, when you think about them regularly, the things they say embed themselves into your memory, because your brain keeps revisiting the interaction. If she's remembering your details, it means her mind keeps going back to you when you're not around. And that's one of the most accurate signs of genuine attraction that exists, not how she acts when you're in front of her, but the fact that she's thinking about you when you're not. And here's the real-world wisdom in this. Be someone worth remembering, not by performing, not by trying to be interesting, but by being present and genuine enough that the conversation actually lands. People remember authenticity, they forget performances. Number 4, her body turns toward you, even when it doesn't have to. You're in a group, multiple people talking. There's no reason for her to specifically face you, and yet, over the course of the conversation, her body keeps orienting in your direction. Her feet point toward you, her shoulders angle slightly your way when she laughs. She looks at you first, even if the joke wasn't yours. This is called proximity bias and body orientation, and it's one of the most involuntary signals in human communication. We physically turn toward what we're drawn to. It's built into our biology. When a man is uncomfortable, he angles his body toward the exit. When someone is interested in what you're saying, they lean in. When a woman is attracted to someone in a group, her body naturally orients toward them even when her words don't. She cannot fully control this. It's not a decision, it's her nervous system responding to interest. The educational insight here is worth keeping beyond dating too. Body language tells the truth that words often hide. In job interviews and friendships and negotiations, the body is always communicating. Learning to read it is one of the most powerful social skills you can develop as a man. Number 5, she teases you, and specifically only you. Now this one requires some nuance, so stay with me. There's a girl in the group who jokes around with everyone. She's funny, she's playful, everyone loves her energy, and then you notice something. With other people, her humor is general, safe, surface level, but with you, it's specific, it's personal. She references things only you two have talked about. She pokes at something only she would know about you. She gives you a nickname. She rolls her eyes at something you said, but there's a smile underneath it. That's targeted teasing. And targeted teasing is intimacy in disguise. When someone teases you specifically, they're creating an inside world, a private language, a dynamic that only exists between the two of you. That's intentional. Even if she doesn't consciously realize she's doing it, she's building a bridge. She's making a world where the two of you have history, and psychologically this is significant. Playful teasing is one of the earliest and most universal ways humans flirt across every culture in the world. It's how people say, "I'm comfortable enough with you to challenge you," and comfort that deep is a form of attraction. Remember this, the person who teases you is the person thinking about you enough to build specific jokes around you. That matters. Number 6, she gets quiet when you talk to other girls. Let me be real with you here. Not dramatic, not manipulative, just honest. You're in a group. Another girl comes into the conversation, or you casually mention a female friend, and something subtle shifts in her energy. She doesn't blow up, she doesn't say anything weird, but she gets just a little quieter. Her smile takes a half-second longer to come back. She becomes slightly less engaged for a moment. That's micro-jealousy, and it's one of the most honest emotional signals that exists. Nobody gets micro-jealous about someone they don't care about. You don't feel a twinge of anything. When a stranger gets attention, you only feel it when someone you're emotionally invested in gives their attention to someone else. She's not being irrational, she's just being human. And that very human reaction tells you more about how she feels than almost any other sign on this list. The wisdom here goes both ways. If you ever notice this in yourself, that slight uncomfortable feeling when someone you care about shows interest elsewhere, don't dismiss it or shame yourself for it. That feeling is information. It's telling you something matters to you. The question is always what you do with that information, with maturity, with honesty, and with self-awareness. Number 7, she checks back in with you. You talked, time passed, maybe you didn't even finish the conversation properly, and then she reaches out. Not for a reason, not to ask for something, just, "Hey, I saw this and thought of you. Hey, that thing you said the other day actually made me think, hey, how are you, bro?" That's her closing the loop, because the loop felt unfinished to her. When someone wants to keep building something with you, they find ways to return. They send the message. They comment on your story. They bring up the old conversation, not because they have to, but because something inside them says, "I'm not ready to let this go quiet." That's one of the most direct, clearest signals of genuine interest initiative. Because initiative costs something, it requires someone to put themselves out there, to possibly be ignored, to risk feeling awkward. And people only take that risk when the reward feels worth it. When she reaches back out unprompted, she's telling you, you are worth the risk. Now, before I close this out, I want to say something real to you. Everything I just walked you through, these aren't tricks. They're not manipulation tactics. They're not a playbook to run on someone. They're a guide to being more aware, more present, more emotionally intelligent as a human being. Because the truth is, understanding how people show interest doesn't just help you in dating. It helps you in every relationship you'll ever have. With friends, with family, with colleagues. The ability to read another person's genuine emotional state and meet them with honesty and maturity, that's not a dating skill. That's a life skill. And this brings me to the most important thing I want to leave you with. The moral reading the signs is only half the picture. The other half is what you do when you see them. A lot of guys learn to read signals and then use that knowledge to chase, to push, to try to capitalize on every green light. And that's where they lose themselves and the connection. The real lesson isn't how to know when to make a move. The real lesson is this. Be the kind of man that someone wants to send signals to in the first place. Be present, be genuine, be emotionally grounded, be someone who listens not to respond, but to actually understand. Be someone who makes another person feel safe enough to linger, to share, to tease, to reach back out. Because attraction, real attraction, isn't something you generate through technique. It's something you earn through character. The man who understands human connection isn't the man who can read the most signals. He's the man who creates an environment where honesty and warmth naturally grow. That's the man worth being. Not to get the girl, but to be the version of yourself that you'd actually respect. That's where everything else follows. Now, if this video landed for you, if you saw yourself in any of these moments, I want to hear about it. Drop a comment below. Tell me which sign hit different. Which one made you think back to a specific moment? Because trust me, you're not alone in it. We've all been there. And if you want to take this further, if you want to understand what to actually do once you've read the energy, I've got a video on mastering the art of conversation with women that will completely change how you show up in any interaction. Go watch that next. Take care of yourself and keep leveling up, not just in attraction, but in who you are as a man. Peace.